Welcome to the Insight Meditation community of Charlottesville, Virginia. You can find all of our program offerings and information about our Sangha at www.imeditation.org. We meet weekly on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, currently on the Zoom platform, for meditation and a dharma talk given by one of our teachers. We also meet daily at noon Eastern Time on Zoom for sitting practice. We hope you can join us.
I'm Liz Reynolds, for those of you who may not know me. I feel like I know a lot of you here. Sharon Beckman-Brindley and I are leading tonight. Sharon, would you just like to say hi?
Hi, everybody. Yep.
And we thought that we might start tonight with something that we do sometimes. I think Laura has started this often, just typing in a word or two in the chat box about what you're arriving with, what is feeling up for you. It could be emotions, it could be just a word that resonates. And we can all take a peek at the chat box, whether we're typing or reading. Yeah. So I see peace, grateful, gratitude, calm, curiosity, sadness, grateful. Cecilia says cold. Settling in, tired, happy, not sure. Great. Open, connection, distraction. That's great. Some optimism. Smiles, settling in, snow. Uneasy, tired, confused, unsettled, hanging in, concern. Yes, we might notice as we begin whether we've added a word or not. The feeling that might arise when we see that we're all feeling different things and we're all here together. We're going to be focusing a good bit on the body and the heart this evening. So taking a moment to settle with what's been shared. And tonight, Sharon is going to be guiding our meditation. I'll be following up with a pretty brief talk, and then we have some fun plans that we might get to, we might not. So, Sharon?
Yeah. So I will start with a meditation. I apologize again. I see that my internet is coming in and out as usual. I even reset my router today, and that seems not to have. Husband asking him to please stay off the internet for a while and see if that helps, and maybe it won't. So fill in the blanks. So there we are. Maybe begin the meditation by just touching into a sense of all of us here together. Such a strange new world that we're becoming familiar with. In Tibetan, the very same root as the word for becoming familiar. So we come to sitting here. Could there be something about this moment in time as we meditate in this strange world? Could there be something about this moment in time that calls for us to become familiar with deeper and more embodied forms of knowing? So our meditation in general is a process of becoming familiar with new ways of relating to this internal landscape. Tonight we explore the body as a most powerful ally in our spiritual practice. This body. When the external world is spinning, when our thoughts are tumbling out of control, when emotions are raging, this body is reliably present and stable. So practicing awareness of the body invites us to slow down, to just be. To just be, to just be. To find the richness of our experience here, now, however it is. This just being. We can notice that we can have a concept of our body, sort of the body that lives in our heads, what we think about or what we think of or what we imagine, how we visualize our body. We also have an experiential body, this body directly known directly experienced. Take a moment to notice that experiential body, what the body knows right now. The breath is moving. Energy is humming. Ears are navigating the rhythm and loudness and cadence of my voice, not just the words, not just the conceptual meaning. What does the body know about all that? If the eyes are open, they are seeing shape and form. Skin is experiencing temperature and movement. Feet and buttocks and weight. Are knowing contact. Look and see what's true right now. What does the body know? You might explore just dropping down from the head, the place of thinking, into the feeling body below the head. Some people play with imagining that they don't even have. Let's see if you want to do that. What's true right now? What does the body know? You might play with allowing awareness to flow like a warm, soft waterfall into the chest, the shoulders, the chest. What does the body know? Allowing that soft flow of awareness into the shoulder, the elbows, the lower arms, the wrists, the hands, the fingers. Letting that soft flowing waterfall of awareness flow into the heart area, the chest, the stomach, the belly. The hips, the upper legs, the knees, the lower legs, the feet and toes. Allowing an awareness opinions and rules and expectations about the body. Stepping out of opinions and rules and expectations about the body to simply draw you patiently and quietly into contact with this body, here, now, in contact with the earth, here. This body doesn't fly away, it's grounded. The earth pulls it. Here in present time, not past or future, here. Just this, just now. That and more. Look and see. Maybe even noticing in particular any qualities of ease or pleasantness that you find in the body. Maybe allowing yourself some moments to take those in, to be nourished by them. The body may also tell you things as you relax, maybe about something that wants to be released, to let go of, softened. Just listen. Look. See. What does the body know? How is it now? Now you might notice a particular sensation that the body is revealing to you right now. Maybe something simple and comfortable and pleasant. Like the movement of the breath or the air against the skin or the softness of your clothing or a blanket. Bring your attention to a specific sensation that is interesting. See if you might allow the sensation itself to draw and absorb your awareness so that you're not focusing on the feeling so much as you are allowing that feeling to draw you in, letting attention saturate the feeling in the same way, or the sensation rather, in the same way that a sponge draws up water, so that the sensation is sponging up your awareness. Notice that this sensation is not happening in the past and it's not happening in the future. It fresh, vivid, awake. In meditation, we're not trying to be anything or get anywhere. We're just resting in the present moment experience of the body. It's like this now, with kindness and patience and allowing. Just this. This body is still and grounded, like the ocean floor, with the breath and movement rising and falling like the movement of the water. There's stillness and pause in the exhale. There might be thoughts like little schools of fish. But this body is here. resting in awareness. We sometimes imagine that when we're lost or overwhelmed or confused or troubled, that one of those little fish is going to come and tell us what to do. One of our thoughts, one of our concepts, one of our ideas, that we have to figure something out. And the invitation of our practice, we can but we can also rest awareness. We can ground awareness in this body grounded on the earth. And listen to it. What does this body, what's needed? The poet Lao Tzu, the Taoist poet, he said, do you have the patience to wait till the mud of your mind settles, or the fish of your mind, I guess, settles, and the water is just clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? Do you have the patience to be with this body and let it teach you?
Thank you, dear Sharon. That was very moving. I really appreciate you. So we'll take our customary short break here. So welcome back, everyone. You can see folks still filtering in. Sharon's meditation so beautifully guided us to our theme for this evening. We titled this evening, Making Space. making space for practices of the heart and the body. And because this inquiry that we'll offer tonight really does lie in that realm of the chest and the torso and the hands and the feet, I wanted to start off by inviting us to envision, each of us personally, how do we allow our minds into more of a supporting role, allowing our bodies to be in more of a leading role, even in this moment right now, and also for the course of this talk. How do we receive knowledge into the body, allowing the mind to support that process instead of lead that process? So we might note right now as we begin, what does that inquiry feel like? To let the body lead, the heart lead. We might notice right now reconnecting if we've already kind of ventured away. Tuning into this idea that our body's wisdom is always waiting for us to listen, waiting for us to learn that language. I'd like to begin this very brief talk, it'll only be about 10 minutes, with a short story from my own practice that illustrates some of these points. This particular story illustrates some of the perils of coming to a spiritual practice from this culture that can so strongly emphasize using one's mind to make sense of the world, to make the world logical and rational. So about 7 years ago, I had a really great opportunity to spend a month in a Tibetan monastery in Nepal. I was about 3 years into my practice at the time and still quite dogged about sitting. I wanted to sit all the time. I thought that was the right thing to do. And perhaps because of this show of dedication, after a few weeks of being in this monastery, some of the residents invited me to help them in the morning to tending to some of the many shrine rooms that were attached to the meditation hall. Now that I'm a little older, I can be completely honest and admit that I only lasted one morning with this honor. I woke up 4:30, got there at 5, and spent the next 2.5 hours removing dead flies from each of hundreds of water bowls adorning the shrine room. I didn't go back. At the time, I had no interest in the centuries of meaning that are built into Tibetan Buddhist water bowl offerings. I didn't care about the significance of water, the connection of this ritual to the land, the nearby Himalayas. Instead, I was looking for what we in Western culture, what I have valued so highly and like to call reason. I like to make sense. And I was trying to make sense of ritual with my mind instead of feeling into these really valuable realms of practice with my body, with my heart. So I wonder if we could tune back into these bodies of ours just for a second and see how that that brief story resonated with us or didn't resonate with us. There might be an attunement to sensation in the chest. There might be an attunement to the mind, taking its lead as it is wont to do. So now, fast forwarding 7 odd years to the past year that has challenged most, if not all of us, to our very edges. I have found myself searching for ways to meet the really profound uncertainty of life, somehow without emphasizing my mind's desire to fix or to make sense of the experiences that I'm meeting. As Sharon pointed to in the meditation, our minds, my mind, can be so quick to categorize, differentiate. My mind loves to process facts and label some things, some people as good. Some things and people become bad. And perhaps a more skillful question than good or bad, though, and one that Jeff posed to us last week, is the question, how do we hold these experiences that life offers? Especially when what life is offering is grief. A very valid, very deep-seated grief in response to this immensity of loss that so many of us have faced this past year. Not just this past year, but especially this past year. And sometimes, perhaps more often than we'd care to admit, our minds do actually belong in a supporting role, secondary to the wisdom of our bodies and our hearts, especially during these processes of making space for and holding grief. This unavoidable grief stemming from the truth that all we hold dear in life will change. All that is dear in this life and everyone that we love will change. As I speak those words, I feel a deep resonance in my body and also a deep repulsion. I don't want that to be true. And thus this search that I've been on for ways to hold life's experiences with this body, because the mind doesn't cut it so often. So many Dharma practitioners and Buddhist convert communities across this country have been turning to ritual, to bowing and chanting practice over recent years. And after the story I told you about the monastery in Nepal, you can imagine I've been quite surprised to find myself among them. On a fairly regular basis over the past 5-6 months almost, I queue up a 45-minute recording of a chant invoking the Bodhisattva Kuan Yin. And sometimes I find myself bowing and chanting for the entire length of the recording. This Bodhisattva, this enlightened being, Kuan Yin, represents an ability to listen to the sounds of the world at ease. I'm going to repeat that because it's more difficult than it may sound. Listening to the sounds of the world at ease. And this mantra's translation that I listen to is quite simple. It goes, I return my life to the one that listens to the sounds of the world at ease. For me, this mantra speaks to our innate capacity to listen deeply, our ability to receive the whole of life's experiences and to meet even the darkest of these with compassion. Very simple to say, very difficult to practice. Some of us here might be familiar with the Buddhist teacher and former monastic Thanissara. She's the teacher that I received the Kuan Yin practice from. And she names this energy, this ability we are all endowed with. And I love this quote. It's an ancient depth of connection to the primordial heart of intimate knowing. There is a way to know very intimately, and it can have very little to do with this part of the body. In some of Thanissara's writings, she goes on to list some of Kuan Yin's attributes. Some of my favorites include ferocious compassion. I'm going to say that one again just because it's so needed, I think. Ferocious compassion. How can we be compassionate and fierce about it? She also says that Kuan Yin is the remover of sorrow, true refuge, invincible courage, all qualities that are much needed in our world today. And this is the heart of our inquiry tonight. How can we remember to listen to the sounds of the world? There's two parts of that. Remembering, first of all, and deeply listening, neither of which are easy. To truly listen to the sounds of the world and to receive them, not try to fix or categorize or label. When these seemingly intractable political divisions, our unsustainable relationship with the natural world, this country's history of racial hierarchy, the intractable nature of some of our relationships with family or friends or ourselves. When these sounds of the world arise, and as Sharon put so beautifully, we see our minds racing into overdrive. We might plan around when this person comes to power, or when this vaccine comes to the ones I hold dear. How can we remember to lead with the wisdom of our hearts and our bodies? This innate capacity to stay open, to stay with the not knowing, to hang out there, and to receive the terrifyingly unexpected and truly daunting experiences that make up our lives. There are brief glimpses of ease when we are able to receive, simply receive what life offers. How do we allow space for that ease that is at brief moments possible in listening to the sounds of this world? So those are more questions than answers. And that is as we intended. So now we would like to offer some space for individual reflection. The talk that I just briefly gave might have brought up thoughts, sensations, difficulties. And it can sometimes be helpful to spend some time with ourselves before we interact with others, understanding how we are processing these words that we've all heard.
Ooh.